I'm going over to make sure the event started. As you can see, I did not want to put up my green screen today because I just didn't feel like it. It's been a long month. I'm sure everybody else will agree that it's been a long month. I'm trying to make sure that this stream's actually going on LinkedIn so I don't talk to myself. How's everybody doing? I haven't heard from anybody on, well, I haven't done Dino Nuggets since May. So there we go. All right, cool. That's working. So I don't want to see myself. Yeah, it's been a long June, which is fine. I was traveling a lot, so hopefully that's like fine because I don't want to like. This is my fancy ramen. I didn't go out and get food today, but this is what my husband calls fancy ramen, which is just literally I poached a couple eggs. I usually fry them, but today I was just in a rush and it's got Spam in it and it's like a $2, $1. I don't know how much like the bags of ramen actually are because I buy them in bulk because my husband eats them too. Because now I'm working at home with my husband and it's distracting. It's very distracting. So we're trying to find balance between actually getting work done and not like being on when each other are doing conference calls, which we did not mitigate earlier today. We were both on a conversation. And I'm trying to make sure that music isn't too loud. So yeah, it's been busy. I went to the Google headquarters, which was in Mountain View. We were in Sunnyvale, which the two campuses are right next to each other, in California in early June. So you saw a picture of me by the Google sign, which was super cool. Enjoyed that. It was definitely a different world and a lot different climate than over here on the East Coast of the United States. We're on the West Coast, so very, very low humidity. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I've just been busy doing just like stuff. Like I've been trying to upload videos for people to learn some like stuff that I think is cool. I did some ARP spoofing. I did some Active Directory stuff. I plan to do more. It's just been very, very busy. So yeah, it's been a busy couple of weeks, and I haven't heard from anybody on Dino Nuggets since May. Like I didn't do Dino Nuggets in June. I try to do it every month, but it was too busy. And then I was also taking some vacation with my family, which is much needed. If you don't take time to decompress with your family, the burnout is real. I was definitely feeling that towards the end of June. So let's see. I started teaching my first class at SNHU. It's been a lot of fun. I started last week and the students have been great. I've really enjoyed it. I wouldn't say I'm doing as much mentorship as I am just excited to see everybody's journey. This is only like week 2 of classes at Southern New Hampshire. And so seeing everybody post in the discussion boards and submit their assignments and submit their experiences has been really cool and interesting. And I don't know, I feel like I've tried to provide some insightful stuff. So hopefully that's helpful to them, but I've really enjoyed it. I definitely am looking forward to doing other classes. Right now I'm adjuncting an incident response course, which is very right up my alley since that's a role that I just left with Mandy and Google. So I was just an IR consultant. So that's a lot of fun being able to do that and to see people that have either been in the industry or that are coming into the industry, help watching them figure it all out. It's because it makes me remember when I was there, almost a decade ago, trying to figure it out as well. And yeah, I am LinkedIn's top airline industry expert. It was airport management, but I decided to let it go because it was just too much work keeping up. It's too hard being an influencer in the airport management world. So I had to step back from my role and take a more passive role. So yeah, the LinkedIn top voices thing, it's now getting old, I guess. I see it's getting old at this point. Like it was a really like freak like thing that was new and it was shiny, and then everybody got it and we were like, oh, that was really easy, like okay, and then it's just kind of like dying with like LinkedIn's now AI generated um articles. And I saw recently, actually I think it was today, that I saw that LinkedIn had recommended that I use their AI features to amplify my profile or do something with my profile. I was like, no thanks, I can write like garbage myself, thank you. So what else is new? What else is new with y'all? I also went to TechNet in Baltimore, which was my first time in Baltimore. Not my first time in Maryland, not my first time up in the Northeast, but yeah, TechNet. It was my first TechNet, and it was my first trip to Baltimore. So it was fine. It was just like it was a really quick trip. I was in and out within the day. But I spoke on a panel for Zero Trust. And we're doing a webinar later on to make up for the disaster that I'm about to tell you. But go to TechNet. I had like mentally prepared. I flew in the morning of Tuesday, which is when our panel was supposed to be. I was going to fly out Wednesday afternoon because my family and I were doing something that week that I needed to be home for. But I had already obligated myself to speak at this panel. And it was going to be about Zero Trust and how it affects the supply chain, how we can use it for, a supply chain benefit. Is it really Zero Trust? Like, what do we mean by Zero Trust? And I have my own kind of hot take on that as well that I'll talk about in the webinar that we do. But the panelists, we all meet up and we kind of chit chat for the first 30 minutes prior to the panel. And then they're like, AFC is like, okay, it's like ready. It's go time. Everybody get up on the panel. We'll do introductions and then we'll go forth and we'll do our panel. And so we get through, our moderator gets through the introductions and we all say our little, we all hear a little bit about who we are and what we do in the industry. And then they ask one question. Everybody answers at least a piece of that question. So we all got some talk time. And then they're asking the next question. And the first answer for that question is coming. And then we see these lights and hear like what sounds like a fire alarm. And everybody around us is just kind of looking out because the panel is not in a theater. It's in like the entirety. It's in a corner of a convention center. So you can see the whole floor and you can see everybody that's like in the convention center because we're kind of raised up on a platform. And so the fire alarm starts going off and I kid you not, it's 5-10 minutes into this panel and we're like looking back and forth, we're like, should we go, is this real? And so people just kind of like start funneling out. We're like, okay, like I guess we're gonna we'll come back in a second. Maybe this is just like someone pulled the fire alarm, someone cooked a bagel or something that was just like they shouldn't have. See, that's why I didn't want to leave the green screen. That's why I didn't want to put the green screen up so you won't miss the cats. So we're like, okay, we'll get off the panel and we'll come and we'll head out to the nearest fire point and do that. And so we all walk outside. We lose most of the panelists stay together, but we lose one. And so we're all just kind of like standing around, like looking at each other. We're like, oh, this like must be real. It's like people are just like coming out in droves of the convention center. And then a security officer comes, starts shouting and they're like, this is real. This is not a drill. This is a real like incident. Like y'all need to get on the other side of the street of the convention center. And so we're now jaywalking across the street away from the convention center. I mean, like thousands of people. And it is 4:30 4:30 at this point. And the convention for the day was supposed to end with our panel. Like our panel and some other ones that were going on at the same time were the last events for the day. And they had already started like happy hour in the convention and like in the restaurants around the convention center. And so everybody sees that like we're not getting back inside anytime soon. And so we're all just like, are we doing this panel? Like, what is going on? And people are starting to like make their way to the bars that are across the street from the convention center. And we're like, there's no way. Like, nobody's going to come watch us do this panel after this. Like, they've had their couple of drinks. Like, they're done for the night. They're ready for happy hours. And so, yeah, we got the confirmation that there was no way that this was going to go back on and that we'd do something to make it up. But we were just like, man, we prepared. I flew in for this. And then it didn't even happen. Like, that was just like, my 5 seconds of fame. It was really funny. So we were like, okay, well, we'll do something to make it up. But it was just like, this was my first, I've done public speaking before, but this was my first like convention speaking. So it was kind of cool to me. And then end up like getting kicked out because of a fire alarm. And to top it all off, the coordinator that we were working with for this panel, we made the comment between the panelists like, oh, that's crazy. Like, when in the history of cybersecurity conventions has this happened before? And the coordinator was like, well, ironically, like at the same convention center, like 2 years ago, this happened, like a fire alarm shut down the convention. Like, it was insane. We're like, of course, a 1 in a million opportunity to talk on a panel that gets shut down by a fire alarm. That's not the first time it's happened. It's the second time in the same venue with the same event. Like, how crazy. So that was pretty funny. And then I went home and it was fine. We'll do a makeup. I also have a talk at TechNet Augusta this year. I'm talking about AI, and I'm talking about how we can use AI and leverage AI for offensive security and defensive security, how we can use the tools, the AI tools, to help direct our security operations and help us to think more intuitively about what we're doing defensively and offensively, so that we can free up some of our, for on the defensive side, free up that analyst fatigue that you get when you're just staring at logs all day. How you can use AI to help humans focus on the more specific, more detail-oriented tasks, as well as using it, on the offensive side to do the same thing. And then how we can bridge those two things together to make our holistic security operations better by using AI. I have not seen Jason Haddox's AI course, but I definitely need to look into that because AI gets a really bad rap right now because it's used so ineffectively and inefficiently. Because right now I see a lot of people posting on LinkedIn. They just post like garbage content because they're trying to get, the easy feedback, the easy the likes, the easy reactions, and they don't want to put in the work. They just want the reactions. So a lot of times when we're talking about this on LinkedIn, like, people are like, oh no, AI is like, it's garbage. And it can be used for a lot of different, much more effective ways. It's just people need to be out there talking about how they can use that. So that way it's shown in a more positive light. We can talk about how we're using it on our day-to-day operations. Also, there are negatives with it as well. We've talked about the content creation, but when you're using it, like how to use AI in your SOC, or to use it when you're doing blue team operations. You can't put customer data or like IP addresses in ChatGPT. There's so many violations that you are so many violations that you're violating. You're violating so many violations. You can't put customer data in these open source, or even if it's like an on-prem system. Like, there are still restrictions that you need to consider when it comes to like client data. And so I'll talk about that at TechNet Augusta, which I'm really excited for. That's at the end of August. And so this is the year of public speaking. And this is the year of actually being forward and trying to get away from behind the computer screen, which is great because I get to meet more people and I get to network more. And unbeknownst to you all, I'm sure that I'm a big introvert. And so this is like putting myself out there, even though it seems like I'm extroverted online because I have like all of the stuff that I do on YouTube and I'm doing this now. It's easier for me to stare at myself in front of a computer and talk to myself and then talk to comments rather than actually forward facing and seeing people face to face. So that's what I'm practicing this year. And something else I'm practicing is finding my why and my purpose. And I know that sounds really like cliche and kind of like spiritual, but really what I'm trying to do is hone in on what I, as Bailey Marshall and as the security Rex, can and do provide for the community. Because I think that we get, there's so many things that we can do, and that maybe we're jack of all trades at a lot of things in cybersecurity, but there's specific things that you are good at or that you provide value to the community that it's easy to do all of this and then burn yourself out. And I want to do this in a way that I can be more effective in whatever this is. So I'm trying to figure out exactly what that is. And it might seem like I have kind of a theme on my YouTube channel and here on LinkedIn. I do a lot of offensive security stuff. I still feel like that's really broad. And maybe it's just being a female voice in a very technical community. I don't know. Maybe it's speaking out for safety of, you know, like our kids online through ways that like I know how hackers do things and how like I know that hackers exploit information. Like that's what I'm trying to figure out. So this is the year of kind of like discovering what really my more narrow view is so that I can do that better for the community. So that's kind of what I've been working on these past couple of weeks. And that's hard because it's easy to get caught up in, well, I'm really good at all of these things and I can be good at all of these things. But if you're slightly good at everything, you're never really, really good at one thing. And I think that's a big cause of burnout too, because you accept a lot of things, you accept a lot of projects, and you say yes to a lot of stuff. But if you don't know what your boundaries are within your own capabilities or within what you're good at, you're going to say yes to the wrong things. And maybe wrong's not the right word, but you're going to say yes to a lot of things that you don't maybe have as much interest in. Maybe you care about it, but it's not necessarily that you are very passionate about it, if that makes sense. So doing stuff is just doing too much stuff. You got to focus on one or two things that you're really good at and then clue in on those things and try to provide value for, you know, whoever your audience is. So that's what I've been working on this year. It's a lot of like personal figuring me out. And I left military service in 2022. So I didn't have a lot of what am I good at? Because everything was about the team and everything in the military was about the greater good and the mission and like the broad success. And now that last year, I kind of found my own individuality when it comes to like who I am in cyber and what I'm good at. And now it's focusing in on, okay, all of these things that I have had experience in and am good at. What are the things that I care about the most to try to get better at to help others? So, but I'll continue to do Dino Nuggets because sometimes people come in here and ask really good questions and I just want to help. And it's really low threat. I also realized that I didn't share the link if anybody would want to come in and hang out with me. I'm just going to put it in the LinkedIn thing right now. So if anybody wants to come in and now I'm stuck in here. If anybody wants to come in and join like the live stream, you're more than welcome to. Usually it's just me up here talking about things in cyber, answering questions about like, oh, well, what certifications should I get and what should I do? Now that I'm interested in this. And I don't think that we have enough of that. I think that we have a lot of very like formal podcasts and things that are more technical. And sometimes I feel like there's not enough space for people to just ask dumb questions. There's like that subreddit that's like, no dumb questions. That's kind of what Dino Nuggets is. And I'm eating my fancy ramen right now, answering no dumb questions. So I think that's really what I had intended, and what I believe Dino Nuggets still is. It's just about taking time out of my day to try to help others in a non-conventional, informal environment, because sometimes people just need to ask questions of others. Someone told me, and I think it was when I was doing an OffSec stream with Malcolm Shore, who was one of the lead creators in the SOC 200 course that they had. I asked him at the end, like, what's the one piece of advice that you would give people trying to get into the industry? And he's like, mentorship. And not everybody is cut out to be a mentor. Not everybody is cut out to do one-on-one mentorship. Because either they just don't have the personalities, maybe they don't have the interests, or maybe they just, that's just not their strong suit. Maybe they're not good speakers. And I personally don't know if I have the capacity to do things like one-on-one mentorship, but at minimum, I can at least contribute here in the cybersecurity and IT space as being a technical female, someone that has been in the industry and done stuff to be successful, can show that you can be anybody, whether it be male or female, that you can be in this space and do things. And then how do you get there? How did I get there? Because I surely didn't start out. I have a bachelor's of science and psychology. Like, I didn't start out wanting to pursue cybersecurity. It just happened and evolved naturally, and I just kind of let it happen. So I just want to be a public face that people can recognize and say, either I helped them in any way, even if it's just one person, or at least, a figure that, hey, if she can do this, I can do this, whatever that might be. That's why I do this. So I've got this question. Can you tell us about yourself and how you learned about hacking? And what I did, the path that I used to start learning cybersecurity. Oh my goodness, it's definitely Friday. So a little bit of background about me. I didn't start out in cybersecurity or IT. I did a lot of, like most young millennials would have, had a computer when I was growing up. I did a lot of social engineering, like my friends' Neopets passwords. I didn't realize that was like, I knew it was bad. I knew it was a wrong thing to do, like to steal other kids' Neopets credentials. But like, I really wanted the stuff on their Neopets accounts. So in hindsight, don't do that. Don't steal credentials from people. But that's how I started like getting interested in like the social engineering side, because it was all kind of like a mind, like manipulating psychology thing. And so I guess I have always had a passion for the human mind and how it can be manipulated. And so I didn't pursue psychology because of that. But when I went into my degree, I thought, well, the human mind's interesting. I was just trying to find a degree that I would be able to pass, because I was going into the military anyway, and I didn't really need to have a degree that focused on anything specific. But I went through and I got my bachelor's in psychology. And what I really wanted to do with that in the military was I wanted to be military intelligence. And that fell through. In military intelligence being like the intel side of things and like thinking about how humans think and watching humans and stuff. So that kind of interested me. And then I did not get that pick in the military. What I ended up getting was Signal in the Army, which is IT. It's like building networks, kind of securing networks, making sure that your networks are stable, and that they're built correctly so people can use them and that are functional. But I did not want to be IT at all. I was like, this is so boring. I don't like this. But I was like, my personality is whatever is given to me, I will try to do with the most that I have. Like, I will put my all into that because that's the cards that I've been dealt. And so as I was going through my IT experience and trying to learn and going to military school for that, I was given a Security Plus voucher. And so the class that we took was not great. It did not really help that much at all. But I went through and I bought a book because I was like, this class doesn't help. It's not really teaching me anything. Like, I want this certification because I was given a voucher for it. So I might as well put myself into it. So I went and bought a textbook at Barnes and Noble. And I went and studied that for about a month and just like ground into like the stone for that so that I could at least pass Security Plus. No prior experience whatsoever. No, I bought a Network Plus book too and kind of read a little bit into that, but I didn't get a Network Plus voucher. I got a Security Plus, and so I kind of put the Net Plus away and was like, okay, I'll read this later, but really Security Plus is what I want to work on. So my coming into cybersecurity was unconventional because I read my Security Plus book and I studied really, really hard for like a month. And then I went and took the test and I passed. And I didn't have prior experience behind me. And so a lot of people are like, well, you should do the basics, like start from the beginning, start with your A plus, your Net Plus, like you have to get a, foundational experience. And I kind of did it the opposite because I went and got my Security Plus, and then I went into a job where I started learning the networking side of things. And it just like kind of happened backwards. So when I passed my Security Plus, I realized that I really did enjoy the cybersecurity side of things. And that was kind of what I wanted to pursue. I wanted to move into a cybersecurity position rather than an IT position. And that being said, I was kind of thinking about cybersecurity and I was like, oh, like I remember when I was little, when I was younger, I used to like socially engineer. I used to do a little bit of script kiddie stuff too. And we won't talk about that now. But when I was younger, I used to do a couple of things that were a little bit more nefarious than they probably should have been. And so now I'm an adult and I'm getting into this security side of things. Well, it's very interesting because I had this experience from my past and now I've been put in this position where I can be security. So why don't I dig more into that? And this was like, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago at this point, nine or eight to 10. I can't remember, but like right now it's about a decade ago that all of this like transpired. And so I was like, well, let me just start and like get really into what I used to do as a kid for funsies. Let me start learning it as a practical, like something that I can actually do. Like I want to do that legally. I want to be able to do the fun things that I was doing before, not in a nefarious and illegal way. I was in the military too. So it's like, I definitely am not going to like cross the gray boundaries of like what's ethical and not. Like my ethics were where they were and where they are currently. I was just a dumb kid back then. Like I was just being stupid. So I started to practice my skills. I got into a couple of classes that I was able to learn a little bit more about offensive security, and was able to come back and help them do some of their like coursework and stuff after I graduated that class because I was skilled at it and it was something that I was good at. It was something that I could speak articulately to and explain in ways that made sense to people that weren't coming in with previous experience like I had. And I won't say experience like I had gone and taken a class or, gotten my degree in hacking or offensive security. I just, by way of growing up around computers and being a bit of a script kiddie and doing something like that, I had a general understanding of what I was getting myself into, and I could explain that to others that didn't have that experience. And that just kind of evolved over the course of a couple of years. I did eventually in the military end up switching to cybersecurity, and I did that for a little bit. I was on the defensive side, which helped me because having a vast knowledge and experience with offensive security and then turning around and doing some of the defensive work helped me to be a better analyst because I was able to understand what hackers were doing or what they would do. I think we get very siloed in our, well, I'm only offensive or I'm only defensive. And then you don't think about what the other side is thinking. And again, that goes back to the psychology because every hack has a person behind it. And there's a lot of like anthropology included in that, where it's like different regions of the world attack certain sectors of like life, like businesses that are finance or healthcare. They all do it in different ways, but it's a pattern. It's very, and that's why we come up with APTs and things that we can translate to specific threat actor groups, because they do things in patterns, and they target things in specific ways, and they only target specific things. And so that was really interesting. And so, fast forward to about 2 years ago, I left the military, had both my offensive and defensive experience, and wanted to just do that. And then I was trying to find my way on outside of the military and figure out what I wanted to do post-military as, someone that was just Bailey, as a part of a community rather than, a military officer or soldier that was doing something for the military. And so I went to Mandiant. I was an incident response consultant, and I still wanted to flex, a lot of my offensive security skills. So I started teaching those things on the side, and I started doing course development and curriculum development for offensive security tools. And that kind of led me up to where I'm at with the Security Rex on YouTube, doing these like quick videos about, hey, this is how to hack the Active Directory in 5 minutes. And it doesn't really take 5 minutes. I explain it in 5 minutes, but you got to have the buzzworthy title so it catches your eye. But like actually explaining, like, these are the steps that you do in a very short form way. Because when you're looking up like, how do I ARP spoof? I don't want to sit there. I personally don't want to sit there for 30 minutes and watch someone do it. Like, just give me the two sides of the sandwich. I just need the bread. And then sprinkle in some cheese and stuff in the middle. I don't need the whole thing. Just something quick. And especially in our community now, we're very much, at least I can speak for myself. I'm very much a short attention span person. So I can't sit there and watch 30 minutes to an hour's long worth of video about how to, set up my interpreter shell, set up my interpreter and then like hit a reverse shell or something. Like, just tell me what to do. Just give me the commands. Like, I don't need all of the extra like garbage. So that is then to now. And that probably answers that question. And the follow-up question is, which certificate is worth it? Security Plus is a great start. You have many people talk about how certificates are worth it, but they're not worth it, but companies like them, but they don't care about them. There's so much information going around right now about what certifications are valuable and if people actually care about them. And the bottom line is that people do care about seeing certifications, but they are not the only thing that's going to, they are not the only thing. Certifications wise, if you're a beginner starting out in cybersecurity, definitely try a vendor neutral, generalized security certification like Security Plus. But if you're getting into more of the specifics, definitely look at some of if you like offensive security, go and look at OPSEC's, OSCP. Hack the Box has a ton of great certifications now, and TCM Security does as well, where I'm starting to see that certifications like these that are offensive security related, but are not necessarily OffSec, are now getting recognized on job applications. And that's really great for the community because it opens up a lot of options for you to get certifications in a field that you're interested in. And to not bore you with all of the thoughts about all of the different paths of certifications, this is my favorite roadmap. It does need to be updated with a couple of the new certifications, and I think I could use an AI roadmap as well. But this certification roadmap tells you exactly across the top. It tells you if you want to be in pen testing or if you want to be in incident response, look down, and these are the certifications. Excuse me. These are the certifications that you would get. And then on the side, it tells you like, these are more advanced. These are intermediate. These are beginner. And it gives you a good like cross section of where you want to be in your field of interest and what certifications are important for your level of knowledge right now. That is super helpful to not dive into all of the certifications and all of the paths. Definitely check this out. It's pinned up here on my Dino Nuggets like banners that I can always pull out really quickly because I use it so frequently and I share it with so many people. And I am actually quite surprised that more people don't know about this roadmap. But again, there's a little bit of updating that needs to be done. But in general, it's a really good tool to have. So yeah, certifications are important. And they don't hurt. If someone tells you that a certification's not worth it, or maybe they say, well, people don't look at certifications when you're applying for jobs, or that they only get you in the door, or they only look good on your resume. Okay, well, it's not going to hurt. Getting a general certification or having something that's educational, like a bachelor's degree or taking courses, and having that on your resume is not going to kill you. Now, obviously, if you're struggling to get certifications or get, coursework because you're just maybe not understanding concepts, or maybe there's something else in play where you've got some family stuff at home, it's not the end of the world if you don't have Security Plus. So I don't want my comments to say, be interpreted that certifications are everything. They're not going to hurt you, but it's not the end of the world. And not everybody is going to respond to certifications the same way that maybe another company would. So that's just my 2 cents. So yeah, hopefully that helps. My ramen has soaked up all of the like chili oil, so now it's like the good stuff. I'm so glad that was helpful. And that, again, that's why I do things like this, because there are people getting into the industry that just don't know the answers to these things. And I think I've said this, my stance on certifications several times in these Dino Nuggets, but like who has time to watch all of these videos and read all of this stuff when they can just ask someone, hey, what do you think? Like, it's no skin off my back if I have to answer it a couple of times. Like, I am more than willing to help others that are trying to get into the community or be successful where they're currently at. There's no gatekeeping here for sure, because that's specifically why I host these things, because I want people to ask these questions and have a place that they can come where maybe if I can't answer the question, someone else in the chat can. So this is really great. Thank you for contributing all your questions. And I always end up talking a ton, and then I never eat my food. And then I go and I try to finish my food really quickly after so I can go do more work, because this is like the lunch hour that I take on Fridays now. So, but well, now that we're in a pause, and unless there's any other questions, which I will happily answer, I am going to Black Hat in August, which is super cool. I'm excited to teach. I'm teaching SOC 200, which is OffSec's like blue team certification. It's the OSDA. I'm super excited. It's my first time in Las Vegas, so I've heard it's like stupid hot. I saw in the Weather Channel that it was like 115 degrees the other day in Las Vegas, so I'm ready to melt. Apparently, I'm walking into the like surface of hell. And I will make sure not to wear any rubber shoes because my feet will apparently melt to the concrete. We'll be indoors most of the time teaching. So, well, all of the time teaching, but most of the time I will be indoors. So hopefully I won't melt. But I'm super excited because it is my first black hat. I am not going to DEF CON this year because I have little ones at home, and so just taking that much time out of being away from them. I'm already going to be gone for about a week to teach, so I don't want to be away from them too much. But I am super excited to at least be teaching at Black Hat, and I'll be perusing the expo floor the first day. So if anybody is going, if anybody would like to, link up, like by all means, let me know. I'll be walking around and just trying to stay out of the heat in the convention center. So that's super exciting. And then maybe next year I'll go to DEF CON. So I'm a little, I wouldn't say I'm nervous. It's been a while since I've taught people in person because everything with COVID really shut a lot of in-person stuff down that I was doing. And so getting back in front of students is going to be very interesting because everything that I've done has been virtual since then. And it's crazy how time has flown the past 4 years since COVID. Like, I can't believe that it's almost been it's been 4 or 5 years since that actually kicked off, which is insane. But it has definitely changed the way that we've done things. I mean, the amount of online classes now is just insane. Is my can like... Oh, my can is green. That's why it's like going through me. I was like, I don't have my green screen up. So maybe I have the green screen filter on where it's supposed to recognize my green screen, but I don't have it pulled up. So how would you not be able to see my stairs and see like that I don't have a cool setup? And, you don't have to have a cool setup, I guess, to be a streamer. I don't know. I will get a cool setup one day. I have to just put my desk against the back of a wall so that I can put some stuff up behind me. Everybody else makes me a little bit jealous because I feel very unofficial when it comes to doing stuff like this. That's why I put the green screen up sometimes, because I feel like I need to be a little bit more on brand. But I mean, you've got the security rec stuff and the Dino nuggets over here. So, I mean, how much more goofy and on brand do I need to be? No, hackers don't need green screens. Yeah, well, and my security Rex channel is pretty much like in the daylight and like these fun, bubbly, like cute sounds and stuff. Like the background music's all fun and chipper. And so someone told me recently that they really liked my brand because it was very cute. And I was like, yeah, hackers can be cute. Like, that's what I'm here for. It doesn't have to be all dark and spooky. It's pink. Hacking is pink now, apparently. At least it is to me. Pink's my favorite color, so whatever. It's my brand. I'm going to do with it what I want. And I actually, when I was creating the Security Rex brand, I told myself, well, I don't want it to be pink because it's kind of fruity. Like, no hackers are like hacking in pink and stuff. Yeah. Well, now I am. Now we are. So. Let's see. What else can we talk about? Unless anybody else has any other thoughts or questions. Let's see what else is going on this year. Yeah, it's just this is a nice July downtime for me anyway. And I'm getting ramped up for Black Hat. So we already talked about that and my busy June. This is just a nice break. I started this new customer engineering job with Google in April, and it has been like hit the ground running nonstop since then because I've been trying to learn a new role. My products that I specifically, if you don't know what customer engineering is, it is sales engineering, customer engineering, solutions engineering is what I've heard, another one. And it's all pre-sales. Pre-sales meaning it is creating a solution for people with whatever products that you're trying to sell or promote. You're creating custom solutions to meet their needs specifically. And so it's very, very interesting because I've had to learn. Again, I mentioned that I am like definitely an extrovert. I've had to learn how to, or I'm definitely an introvert. I've had to learn how to be more of an extrovert because now I am like, I always joke, like I'm, what is it? They always say like shaking hands and kissing babies. And I always say kissing hands and shaking babies because it makes me feel a little less uncomfortable when I'm talking to people. So I always just try to make a joke out of stuff because I'm so socially uncomfortable and awkward, but I've had to step out of that comfort zone and try to interface with people in a way that's not so, I don't know, socially awkward. And so this role has not only I've been learning how to do it and like what the specifics of my products that I focus on Mandiant tools, for example, which is perfect and right up my alley because I worked with them for the past 2 years when I was in my incident response role. I definitely understand Mandiant and the core values and how like the products that like I understand it from a consumer view. And so yeah, it's just one of those things that it's been a really weird experience because I've had to not only learn how to do a new job, but learning how to be a different person almost, because I've had to be a little bit more extroverted. And, but it's good because you get introverted people that understand the materials and the products and things like that. And we're just the right amount of awkward to be able to make like conversing with people and explaining these technical solutions more fun and more or less salesy, I guess. And it's been good. I really enjoyed it. I really enjoy the team that I work with. I like the products that I do because I love Mandiant and I have really enjoyed being a part of Mandiant and part of like that community of just like the smartest people that I think that I've ever met. And now I get to go through and promote products and things like that. And so one of one of the products that Google obviously has is Gemini. And so I got to I posted a little blip a couple of days ago about how I use Gemini to prep myself for the 5-minute panel that I did. Which was a chuckle in and of itself. But I used Gemini and I was like conversing with it like I would have been texting my husband and asking questions and trying to prime myself for it. So, but I've asked Gemini some fairly unhinged questions at certain points because of just, it's me. I'm not going to go into the unhinged questions that I've asked, but the responses from Gemini are by far like the funniest I have ever seen. Like I've used ChatGPT, I've used Perplexity. Like if you want some truly unhinged content, like Gemini will respond to you in the most like appropriately inappropriate responses. Like it's all appropriate. It's just like so funny. Like I asked something about like, give me some ideas for some videos on like funny hacking tutorials or something. And every single response had like something to do with pigeons. And I was like, Gemini, what is up with like you and the pigeons? Like it was just so unhinged and just like kind of feral that I was like, okay, Gemini's like now my new favorite. Like I loved Gemini before, but it just made me like cry. It was me and Jen Funk. We were looking up some ideas for some stuff and we were just like crying on the floor laughing because just the responses that we were getting from Gemini were so just goofy. So if you want to chuckle, don't be inappropriate, but some of the responses that you get from these AIs are truly just like beyond, like they're so awkwardly placed. The timing is just perfect that they just make you like die laughing. So I thought it was really funny. So despite, me loving Gemini because I use it on a daily basis with Google, is by far my favorite AI to talk to because it has some of the most fun responses. And it makes me smile. Not a lot of things make me smile as an introvert, but talking to AI apparently does. And I think we've got about 9 minutes left or so. I mean, I can keep talking. I got my B-side shirt on from Augusta this year. So I'm hoping to do something else with B-sides this year. Maybe not Augusta, because that weekend I've got something else going on, but another B-sides somewhere else. And just trying to interface with everybody and meet people, which is exciting for this year because I have met people. I actually met someone in the hospital, and I wasn't in the hospital. I was just in the hospital, like in the vicinity of the hospital locally. And someone stopped me and they were like, "Oh, I see you on LinkedIn." And I was like, "This is not the right time. Like, we're in a hospital." Like, it was like something going on with my husband and stuff. I was like, "Okay, well, like, I'm busy right now, but like, we could get a coffee later." It was like, now I'm like, no, getting a little bit more FaceTime with people that I like see on social media very frequently. And it was just kind of funny because I was like, we can talk about this later. Like, are you okay? Like, you're in a hospital too. Do you need help? So it's just like that awkward, like the more that you put yourself out there on social media, the more people kind of like recognize you. And it's just like, it's just really funny. But I don't want anybody to think that I am out here to be an influencer, because I don't like that. I've seen a lot of people do that. Again, that goes back to the AI, like regenerating garbage just for like likes and reactions. It's really awkward to me. And that just is, I don't think that there is a place for that in cybersecurity. I don't know how you can influence cybersecurity. I'll just put it at that. I've seen a lot of people try to influence cybersecurity. How do you become an influencer for cybersecurity? I get how you could influence like people's purchases on Amazon because you're like I'm a stay-at-home mom and I have all of these products that I use to be a stay-at-home mom. But I mean, I guess you could do affiliate marketing with like companies and stuff, but I just like everybody should probably be aware of cybersecurity and how important it is. I don't think that you should be able to influence it one way or another. I think it just should be like everybody should not be using password 123 as their password. Therefore, there's no reason to influence it. It just should be like, I don't know. You guys tell me. I've seen a lot of stuff on like that recently, which is just like weird to me. So, I mean, I guess you could say like with products and stuff that there are things that, and I kind of recognize it now a little bit more that I'm on like the sales engineering side of stuff, is that you want to promote your stuff. You want to promote your products. You want to promote what you're doing and things that you, it's just like when you are growing in cybersecurity. I've been talking about an Alexis Bertolf, I believe is how you pronounce her last name. She's a Cisco sales engineer. She did a really good talk this year on how to create your own brand and to be your own person and how to promote your brand online. So it helps you make more sales and things like that. But it also helps you when you're looking for jobs. If you have an online portfolio of things that you are working on currently or things that you have done, it shows people that you have completed projects, that you have skills in certain things. So there is value in creating an online brand and an online presence, while there's like a fine line between like being a weird influencer and giving yourself a digital resume, if that makes sense. Like having a YouTube and being active on LinkedIn or on social media or putting yourself out there on GitHub, there's nothing wrong with that. It's when like I can't necessarily describe it, but everybody that is probably watching this video knows that line that is drawn where people are like, I, did this thing and I saved this company millions of dollars. And then their LinkedIn profile says that they're like a tier 1 SOC analyst and have been one for 3 months and they just graduated from uni like a couple months ago. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, well, have you really saved that company millions of dollars, or are you just trying to get likes so you can get connections? So it's just, there is value in having an online brand no matter what you do. It's about the way that you execute that. and to be authentic and not to be weird. Nobody likes like weird. Like a little weird is okay, but like weird is like, don't be weird. Um, Again, I didn't eat that much. I never do. And I promise I go and I finish my food afterwards. That's the whole premise of Dino Nuggets. It's Dino Nuggets because it's food eating at lunchtime and you're eating food at lunchtime. And it was like, perfect because it's food that you eat. I did have Dino Nuggets once on Dino Nuggets and I won't do it again because it was, the Dino Nuggets were fine, but they were the cheap Dino Nuggets. They were the cheap off-brand ones. And they were not good. And it's just ruined my wanting to eat Dino Nuggets on Dino Nuggets sort of thing. But since then, I have bought the name brand Dinosaur Nuggets, and I will eat those on occasion. My kids love them. My husband eats them. So everybody in my family is a fan of Dino Nuggets. It's just not going to eat. I'm a 30-year-old woman, and I will not eat Dino Nuggets on camera again. You had it once, and you don't get it again. Go and review the last Dino Nuggets. I think it was in January of this year. I kicked it off, and I think it was like, ew, this is not what I want. Granted, a 30-cent or 30-cent, I don't know how much ramen packets are anymore. $1. Let's say $1. $1 with ramen packet with 2 eggs and some Spam. Not like that much is much better. I mean, that's a heart attack waiting to happen. So, I guess, we'll just, if there aren't any more questions, I'm going to wrap up my airport management video today. We'll just let you know that my airport management posts are still floating around on these AI generated articles. And it's every so often I do see them like pop up on my feed and I'm like, aha, that's when I was funny. And I really just like went pretty feral with those because it was so silly. Like, if there are some serious airport management people on LinkedIn that are like serious about like branding themselves as airport and they really like run, like Atlanta Hartsfield Airport, like I want to talk to you because like you've got some serious, like, it's just hilarious. I want to talk to you because I need to know these people. Are there people out there? I know there are managers at airports, but like top airport management, like, I don't know. It's just so funny. Anyway, I'm going to get out of here and I've really enjoyed talking to you all and you guys have a nice weekend as well. And I'll see you on the next one. Hopefully it'll be next month. I will try to do one in August so that way we make sure we stick up with the monthly routine. So anyway, talk to you guys soon. I'm going to end the stream now.